Route 73 is a lonely stretch of road that runs through the vast state of Kansas. Over the decades, it has lost its prominence to larger, better-maintained roads. Today, it is a forgotten back road where the wind carries dust and mysteries. However, this road holds a dark secret. Since the 1970s, reports of disappearances have permeated the region. Abandoned cars, unexplained wrecks, and people who have never been seen again. But that is all it is. Reports. Without concrete evidence, the police file the cases as accidents or voluntary escapes. Urban legends flourish among locals. Some say that the road is haunted by a vengeful spirit. Others say that a man uses the isolation of the place to prey on unsuspecting drivers. The Reaper of Kansas, as he is known, is said to be a human predator, methodical, cruel, and virtually invisible. Their existence has never been proven, but their myth persists, passed down from generation to generation as a veiled warning to avoid Route 73. Jenna, an investigative journalist looking for a scoop, stumbles upon this story while interviewing residents at a local bar. Her career is at a low point, and she sees this as an opportunity to boost her reputation. During her preliminary investigation, she hears conflicting reports. Some describe the road as a cursed place, others as simply an unfortunate coincidence. But there is a pattern. Almost all of the disappearances have occurred at night, in adverse weather conditions. On the horizon, only fields of wheat swaying in the wind and the occasional abandoned house. With each kilometer she travels, she feels further away from civilization. Jenna tries to stay focused on her mission, to discover what lies behind these mysteries. But deep down she can't help but feel as if she's being watched. Something about that road doesn't just seem forgotten, it seems alive. As she reaches Route 73, Jenna feels a growing tension. The narrow road seems to close in around her, with fields of wheat stretching as far as the eye can see. The abandoned houses that dot the road are relics of a forgotten past, their collapsed roofs and broken windows evoking a sense of eternal abandonment. Every stop she makes to take pictures or take notes is accompanied by the oppressive silence of the place, broken only by the wind whistling through the ruined structures. Jenna decides to interview some of the few locals. Most avoid answering questions about the road directly, averting their eyes and changing the subject. However, an older man with tired eyes and a voice thick with experience shares a fragment of a story. He recalls the 1980s when several truckers mysteriously disappeared while traveling along Route 73. It wasn't a coincidence, he says. They were chosen. As Jenna organizes her notes, she can't help but feel as if she's being watched. Her camera captures images of fields and empty roads, but also captures inexplicable shadows in the distance. As she reviews the footage, something peculiar catches her eye. A rusty pickup truck that appears in several sections, always distant, but always present. At this point, the narrative shifts to the Kansas Reaper's point of view. He is shown in his isolated cabin, hidden among the wheat fields. His tracking and hunting skills, honed since childhood, make him a ruthless predator. He scans the road through old binoculars, carefully choosing his victims based on patterns that only he understands. The truck is her tool, a decoy that blends into the desolate landscape. As night falls, Jenna continues her exploration, oblivious to the fact that she has become the Reaper's next target. The oppressive atmosphere intensifies, and the road that once seemed merely desolate now feels deliberately hostile. The sense of danger is palpable, and Jenna realizes that the legend of Route 73 may be more real than she ever imagined. Jenna can't ignore the disturbing signs that accumulate along her journey. Irregular tire tracks on the asphalt indicate that other cars have made sudden maneuvers, as if trying to escape from something. As she passes an abandoned gas station, she notices details that increase her anguish. Crushed cans, broken glass, and dark stains on the ground that could very well be dried blood. As she documents the place, Jenna feels a presence. The silence is interrupted by a distant sound, an engine that seems to be getting closer. A rusty pickup truck appears on the horizon, its headlights flashing erratically. She pretends to be calm and returns to the car, but her fear grows as the truck begins to follow her. The chase is tense, with the unknown vehicle approaching dangerously, like a predator toying with its prey. In a desperate act, Jenna tries to lose her pursuer, turning onto a dirt road that leads even further into the region. However, her car breaks down, leaving her vulnerable and isolated. She tries to call 911, but there is no signal. The sound of the truck's engine grows closer, followed by the sharp thud of a door closing. Jenna senses that danger is now very close. She grabs her camera and flashlight, determined to flee on foot through the wheat fields. The darkness is almost total, and the sound of her footsteps on the soft ground is muffled by the wind. Behind her, heavier, more determined footsteps break the silence, confirming that she is not alone. The tension builds, and Jenna realizes that she is on a deadly hunt, and she is the prey. Chapter 4. The Reaper's Lair. Jenna runs through the wheat fields, her flashlight shaking in her sweaty hands. The sound of footsteps behind her is relentless, getting closer. In a moment of desperation, she decides to turn off the light and crouch among the tall stalks of wheat, holding her breath. The Reaper stops a few feet away from her, his silhouette barely illuminated by the moonlight. He seems to be sniffing the air, like a predator tracking its prey. Jenna can barely contain her fear as she watches his menacing figure. After what feels like an eternity, the Reaper moves away, but Jenna knows he hasn't given up. Taking advantage of the moment, she moves slowly, trying to create distance. Eventually, she finds an old grain silo and decides to hide inside. The place is dark and musty, but it offers a brief respite from the chase. However, as she explores the interior with the dim light of her flashlight, she finds something that makes her heart almost stop. A collection of objects left behind by other victims: watches, shoes, wallets, and family photographs. The horror of her situation becomes clear. She's not just being hunted, she's in the Reaper's territory. Jenna tries to remain calm and plan her next move, but the sound of footsteps echoing in the silo interrupts her thoughts. He's found her. The final confrontation is inevitable. Jenna uses everything she has, her wits, her courage, and the little equipment she brought, to fight for her life. She manages to distract the Reaper momentarily by throwing sacks of grain in his path and using the silo's structure to create obstacles. In a moment of desperation, she finds an old ladder leading to the top of the building. Climbing quickly, she reaches an exit that leads to the roof. From there, she sees the distant lights of a main road. Freedom seems so close, but the Reaper is not far away. Jenna takes a deep breath, gathering her last strength to escape. Her survival depends on every decision she makes in the next few minutes. Jenna launches herself from the silo toward the fields again, using the darkness as her ally. With the Reaper hot on her heels, every second is crucial. She runs with everything she has, ignoring the pain and fatigue, until she finally reaches the main road. Her legs give way when the headlights of a truck appear in the distance. Jenna waves desperately, and the vehicle stops. A confused elderly driver helps her climb into the cab, while she tries to explain what happened between sobs and panting. Before they can leave, the headlights of the rusty truck appear once again in the darkness, but this time in the distance. The trucker steps on the accelerator, taking Jenna away from Route 73. Days later, Jenna reports her experience to the authorities, but when the police return to the indicated location, they find no silo, no trace of the Reaper, and no clue to the missing victims. Her story is met with skepticism, but she knows what she experienced. Jenna's article draws national attention, transforming Route 73 into a symbol of mystery and danger. A few curious people venture there, but few return with stories to tell. In the end, the road remains shrouded in mystery. The final scene shows the rusty pickup truck parked at a bend in Route 73, its headlights off, patiently waiting for its next victim. Thank you for joining us on this chilling ride through the shadows of America's roads. If you crave more spine-tingling tales from the dark asphalt, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Your support keeps these haunting stories alive. Stay tuned, because on these roads, the next nightmare is always just a mile away. Welcome to Asphalt Horror.